family, welcome to All Things Woman, where we come, we dig, uproot, and plant seeds to help you flourish as a woman. Today we have with us Monique Inc. Let's welcome her. Thank you for being here today, honey.
Thank you
I appreciate it. I'm so excited because we are going to dig into vision and the journey of coming on into the vision that you feel like God has given you as a woman. We're going to deal with how you can map that out, some budgeting things. But before we get into that, I want to hear how this beautiful woman came into being a strategist and coach. This is what she does. So today we're going to hear a little bit about that, and then we're going to give y'all little tidbits of how y'all can go into the new year with whatever vision that it is that God has given you. Because I believe you have to properly plan things out. You have to properly plan things out. And if you don't know how to do that, you may take some steps that you don't need to take. So you need a strategist and a coach to help you. But we're going to talk a little bit about that a little bit more at the end. But thank you once again for being on.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, no problem at all. Okay, so if you can tell us what it is that you do. Break that down for us.
Okay. So as you said, I'm Monique. My company is Monique Inc. And we really help give rise to the best within. And so really for the company, I sort of captured all of my gifts and put it into this business. I really call my company my ministry, right? Like it's really about how do I take everything that God has given me and impart that into other people. Sometimes we don't even recognize it as something because it's just who we are. But essentially, the company for the past 2 years has really focused on doing nonprofit consulting. And so I've been in the nonprofit field for 15 years, well, over 15 years now. And when I transitioned out of my role, I was the Senior Director of Community Engagement at St. Luke's Foundation. And essentially what I did is the work that I've been doing in the field for all these years, I started doing contracts. So people that were my peers or organizations I worked with, they became who I now consulted for. And so it was really a blessing for it to work out that way, and for all those. So people are like, oh, you just did that overnight? Well, no, I put a little 16 years in it, you know.
Put some time in.
And thankfully it manifested the way that it did. But in addition to that, one thing I would not let go of is my passion for Black women. And so one I saw within the nonprofit field, we're tired, we're overwhelmed, we're overworked. And I don't just think it's the nonprofit field, but I saw it a lot there because in that service industry, it's a lot like there's an expectation that you just keep giving. And then when you finally are the only Black or the one or two or three in those roles, it's like all of the weight is on you to solve the problems of those before. You're really working with your auntie, your cousin, you know what I mean? Like you're really working on their behalf. And they're looking at you like, what you doing while you in that office? And then you think about charting the way for the future, right? And like who comes for, so that's just a lot. And so what I noticed is a lot were leaving or burning out. And I believe we need people inside as well, in addition to outside. So what I wouldn't let go of was supporting Black women in nonprofits, but just in general. So I had business coaches. You need to focus on the nonprofit side. Like that's where the revenue is coming from. And I'm like, but what God is telling me is to support women. So my crazy self, I decided to do both at the same time. And that's what I've been doing for the past 2 years. But what I say is essentially we strategically position organizations and individuals for success. So that's where the strategy part comes in there, right? Like the strategy is, where am I now? Where am I trying to go? What's the impact that I want to make? And how do I align myself with that? I always say we like to do the right next step because when we think about it, it could be overwhelming. So what is the right next step for you to get there? And how do you even get clarity on where there is, right? And so it's funny, like you said, a strategist and a coach, because I ran from the title of coach for so long. I was like, there's too many coaches. Everybody's a coach. I'm like, I'm not a strategist because I don't just want to edify, like just like rah-rah you, like when you think about a coach. Like I also want you to have very sound strategies on how you move something forward. We often are not that strategic in the way that we think are intentional in the way that we move and how we act. And so it wasn't until I did a program for Black women women.
Okay.
And so many were like, I need an executive coach. And I had that issue. I couldn't find anyone. When I did have a budget for coaching, I couldn't find someone that looked like me.
Like you.
That I felt like could understand what it was like for me to be me and the challenges that I was facing. And so, and then I have friends. So, it always starts with your friend circle too, right? You do a little something and they call you coach and they send you to other people that's saying, well, Monique is my coach.
That's my coach.
Yeah.
She be getting me together.
So I was like, girl, stop running from it.
Yeah.
It's what you do naturally.
Yeah.
If I met you in the store, you told me about an idea you had,
you gone.
I would just be like,
yes.
And I love it.
Yes.
And so I'm actually getting certified.
Awesome.
Through Weatherhead, through Case Western Reserve University. I'll be certified within the next month.
Yes.
Because I'm like, if I'm going to be a coach,
I'm going to be a coach.
I'm going to be a coach. I'm going to be a coach.
A coach.
Right? Because I think it's so, it's so humbling for someone to entrust their life with you.
Yes.
To share with you and for you to help them figure out their path. And I'm a academic, I do have my master's in social work and, all of that thing. And I taught at K, so I'm really like a academic girl too. So I love a good model and a framework, right? Like, what are we rooting this on? Not just all feel good because there's a gift and a calling, but there's also some frameworks that we can use to make sure that it's evidence-based and it gets the results that people want, right? So I like to blend those two. So that's how I do. We give rise to the best within.
Come on.
We're trying to find your best. We're going to pull that thing out and support you till you get there. Yeah.
Oh my God, that is so awesome.
I love it. I love it.
I can tell. Like you literally, I can just hear it in your talk. I can feel it in your flow. It's so crazy. I remember the journey. I had started coaching school. I want to say maybe after my second daughter. She's 9 now.
Okay.
And I felt the same way, like, oh no, everybody's a coach. I don't want to do this. But it's so crazy because what's in you, you're going to get back there. At one point, which sits me on this couch, today, where I'm like, woo, it's just some things you can never run from. It's inside of you.
Yeah.
But I love to hear you even say, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to go back and do it and do it right.
And do it right.
And do it well and do it well educated. And that is a thing for me as well. It's important that you are fully educated in what it is that you're doing so that you can be the best. Like God, I feel like there's a piece that God gives you. And then there's a piece that's like, all right, you go do your part. Go become well educated, even in the world of like preaching. And I can talk about that because that's the other side of my life. I have to be trained in that, to make sure I am helping and edifying people properly and interpreting the word of God properly. So it's the same on the flip side. So I thank you for that because it was a checking. It's a checking. It's a dual checking of good mindset, Tiffany, that yes, go to school, but also quit running as well because what's in you is,
talk about the run.
The run. Because the run is serious.
The run is serious.
It is serious.
So I said I launched my business in 2020, April 2020, during the pandemic. That's how you know God got a sense of humor. And if y'all listening, you probably have your own story about God's sense of humor. So where it came from, so when they say running, like I've probably been my mom could have told you at the age of 3 that I was supposed to be an entrepreneur, right? I've had bosses like, you need to get you need to do your own thing, right? And I never stayed on a job longer than like 2 years, 2 or 3 years in my whole entire life. Never stayed longer than 2 or 3 years. I'm like, something not right. So what happened is I say, never start your year, or maybe make sure you start your year with a couple retreats. So I went to a retreat, a woman called Rosetta, who was a happy black woman. Okay. So I went to a retreat in Florida. Then I hosted my own retreat. Okay. And this was just with my friend circle. But when I walked out of there, I was like, I'm making 6 figures. One thing she told me is you are not normal and that's okay. Right? Like in that first retreat. So it's just like this permission because I was going to go out on my own 2 years before that. Okay. Before I became a senior director, but it just felt more responsible. They were paying 6 figures. I was going to be a senior level at this foundation. That's I hadn't been in nonprofit foundation work. Okay. So I was like,
let me just do that.
Yeah, I was like, let me do that. You know,
Yeah.
and you got a little nervous about the contracts or whatever. And so what happened after those retreats is I said it was just that thing that was in me I couldn't ignore anymore.
Yeah.
Because when you give space for it, it grows.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I finally sat long enough to listen to that, and it got so big and rose up so high in me that I could not ignore it anymore. And so when I came back from the retreat, I wrote a letter, and I had tried to quit, but they tried, you know, they keep, you so great.
You so great, we gonna
you
give
so
you this.
wonderful.
Come on, we want
I said, this is what the slave left. I wouldn't know what I would do without you.
Replace me.
But I wrote it.
Yeah.
And I put the date. I gave them like 2 months, but I did it right after that retreat because I said I was no longer living. If I died, this is what I've always said. If I died today, I would not be satisfied with the way that I was living my life. Like, and I said, and that's enough. Like, at some point, I have to believe in what God has put in me. And so I put in that notice. That was about in February. And then when April came, we were in a pandemic. And I said, "Oh, what we doing, Lord? But I flourished.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: when I did it, in my spirit, it said, "This is not the real leap." Right? Like leaving your job, you think it's the leap.
Yeah.
I am just now
leaping.
Woo. Because I'm saying what I've known for the past 15 years, what has blessed me to have a multi-6-figure company since its inception.
Yeah.
I am willing to put that work aside because when I was a little girl, I was prophesied to that God was going to use me. And he has shown me over and over again this ministry and calling that I have to bring out things in women that they don't even know that exist just for them to go higher.
Yeah.
And so I said, the real leap is to say no more of what brings me to security.
Woo.
Right?
Yes.
I am now going to pivot.
Yeah.
And I'm going to focus and literally focus on 2 services, a program and coaching. And while I don't know, because this is the challenge. And you guys have this. If you have a financial planner, if you have coach or anybody in your life, so for me in business, it's always, what's your revenue goal? Right?
Yeah.
So I don't have a revenue goal. I have an impact goal. Right? I want to touch this many people. I want to do this work. That's what I said last year.
Yeah.
Then my income superseded, like almost doubled.
Yeah.
But it's for me, it's like believing in the work and then allowing the finance. Now be clear.
Yeah.
I'm clear about what I need to bring in to sustain.
Yeah.
But my focus is on following the call.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like right now. So that's the leap. So when I say to run, I stopped running in December 2020.
Okay.
December 1st. No, it was like November where I called my assistant in the office. I'm like, look, boom, boom. We're not doing this. We're not doing this. We doing this. We going all in.
Yeah. Woo, girl. Listen, when I say you have just said a mouthful for me. Yeah. For me. And I'm sure for many other women that are maybe sitting out there, sitting in this moment like, oh, I'm at the leap. Like literally coming into this past week, like God really has been dealing with me so taking this back, someone had asked me, so what's the big goal? What is it that you want to do? And I just was like, I want to impact people. I want to impart. Like there's so many parts of my life that God has blessed me with wisdom. Like I have experienced a lot at a very young age, which allows me to pour from a place that everybody can't pour from. You got to go through something to pour from that place, right? And then just a natural sense of wisdom since I was a kid. Like my mother used to be like, "Who, child? You can't say that to folks. You are 5. You are 10. How do you know how to tell a whole woman what to do? You're 10. You ain't even experienced life." So it was a gift that God had gave me that I had to go the journey of forever understanding it, embracing it, taking it in. I go away to Women That Were Loose this year. I come back, God gives me to do this.
Yeah.
And I was like,
ooh, what?
huh? So what, why, and how?
Yeah.
How are we doing this? Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
And I literally was like, oh, this is my one thing that if I never got paid, I would do.
Right.
I would do.
That's
That's
something
always
to
that
pay
question that
attention
people,
to.
they say, if you could do that one thing without getting paid, what is that? And I said, I do it. I pour.
Yeah.
And so when God gave me this to pour, it was like, okay, God, well, whoo, all right. And he keeps giving me people to bring on, different things to talk about, so on and so on. But then this past week, I hit a place like, all right, Lord, y'all, this is real cute.
Right.
And I love pouring. I really do.
Yeah.
What is the fullness? I want to dream a little bit bigger because I'm really starting to believe.
Yes, that part.
I'm really starting to believe
that
the
part.
fullness of what you are saying for me to do.
Yes.
And I am okay with it.
Yes, that
And so now I
part.
feel like I can dream.
Believe. So a lot of times when we're not dreaming, it's because we really not believing.
Yeah.
But this is something that I want to make sure that people know. Even if, I'm going to turn to y'all and say that, even if you don't believe yet, start taking steps.
Yes.
What I encourage is something that we don't often look at as doing, which is exploring. Exploring has just as much action, exploration, and discovery. That is just as much action and putting momentum behind you as you doing the thing, right?
Yeah.
So you getting, before you did the show, you just going and doing a live, or you just recording something that you post to see how you feel about it. You are exploring, you are discovering, you're finding out what's good. That is just as important as the ultimate goal. And it teaches you. It teaches you what works and what doesn't. So I've spent 2 years doing a nonprofit work. Now I sit in the meetings and I listen to my body. I listen to my body. Right? My body tells me that what's happening on this side doesn't feel good. But I can have back-to-back sessions with women and come out like, you know? So I'm like, this is it. Give yourself permission to discover and explore even the simplest idea that comes into your mind.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Because we get so, especially as black women, well, I ain't doing, we got to do, I got to do. That discovery, reading that book, painting, whatever it is. That's a part of your process. That's a part of your vision, because once you do that, right? So like, let's say you do the live, before you do the show, you do the live, you're like, oh yeah, I can do this. That's the belief part. But you are stifled until you truly believe. Until you truly believe, you can only, so that's not the best with it. Right? That is a very small subset of what's possible.
Right.
When you start believing that, I read that book, Believe Bigger.
Okay.
Marshawn Evans Daniels Evan, I already mixed up her last name. It was, I recommend that book for everybody.
Believe big.
Believe bigger.
Believe bigger. Go get it.
Bigger. As a beginning of understanding, right? Like for you, because of your spiritual, you talk about gifts. Everybody doesn't have that context. What this book is really breaks down is there's a difference between our talents and there's a difference between our gifts. And there's this gap stage where we are moving from one to another. Our talents are what we have been taught to do. Like when I say I'm a strategist, I'm good at strategy work. I'm good at the nonprofit work. It makes me feel like maybe that should be, because I could be in the meeting. My mind works that way. That's my talent. My gift. My gift is to build people to their highest version of themselves. And I was doing that when I was working in community. And I do that when I talk to the woman in the store. And I do that like, they're like, what would Mo do? Because they're like, I'm constantly saying like, and thinking about how can we think higher? How can we get, and for me, it's about how do I get rooted in my truth in order to go higher? Because that's, for me, there's like this aha moment that comes because you recognize in which ways you've been held back. Are you recognizing what's possible for you? You know what I mean? So you're able to really get into that and move you to that next level. But there is a difference between our gifts and our talents.
Our talents, yes,
right?
yes.
And I always say an assignment. So when we talk about purpose, right, like that's something that we get caught up, like, what's the purpose? And really, if you think about it, like all the things you said that you've been doing, it's a part of your purpose, but the assignment is, what am I doing with it in this season?
Yeah.
And I think when we get so caught up in like it being the one thing, we lose opportunities to fulfill assignments in seasons and recognize them as seasons.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. That's so good. Oh my God, I'm so enjoying talking to you. It's so good because that assignment piece is a big thing. And that was something that I had to sit with this. Like, this very well can just be an assignment that's a part of the journey, the bigger purposeful thing. And so understanding when to come in out of that, to come in and out of that, and knowing that's for a moment, or that's for a time, or that's going to be a forever thing. And you have to be fully aware of that. I am like, oh my God, so full from this conversation. I really am, because I feel like this is the thing that a lot of women, they sit and they get lost in some of these steps, right? You get lost in some of the steps along the journey of, okay, God, that's a lot. Now where do I go from there? What is next? So I think having this conversation is so important. Because it just helps give direction. It helps them let them know that they're not alone.
You're not alone.
You ain't the only woman that's out there feeling like this.
You're not the only one.
Or piecing it together.
And even when you know, expect to have moments when you don't.
Right.
Like this whole idea that we arrive and it's over, I just think is it's a setup. To have you constantly in some feeling of despair, or like what you don't know is what you know to be true. Let that be the truth in the moment, and live in that, and accept the fact that may not be the next truth.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yes.
Like, and it's okay. But there's power in vision, and when that vision comes from the clarity from God, it helps to chart the path. A lot. And I'll just say, like, if you don't have that clarity, give yourself permission to once again explore, and don't do it under the stress and the strain. Like, do it in the freedom and the joy. Like, I often think, so I didn't really play as a child. I lost my childhood because of what I went through in my life. And so I find myself now saying, like, what would the little girl who didn't have the weight of the world on her shoulders, what would she do? Like, how would she? I went to the Color Factory in Houston, like a museum by myself. So much in my life right now, because sometimes you have to go back and give yourself what you didn't have. Sometimes we don't have that vision, or we don't have that dream, because we're still dealing with unresolved stuff. And so how can I have a vision for my adult self when I never got to know the little girl? You know what I mean? And so like a part of that, that's why I say exploration and discovery. So I spend a lot of time with myself now, right? And I think we as women should, whether you're married or you have children, give yourself permission, because we're ever evolving and growing, right? So what does it look like to just go play in the Color Factory and walk through balls and throw balls? But that's a part of my discovery. That's a part of my exploration. That's a part of my vision, because now I can teach that to other women. Do you know? Do you know how many women don't have a list of 25 things that they enjoy?
I can imagine.
I can't do 25.
You'd be like, well, I mean, I got a good 3, I think.
But that's where dreaming, believing, visioning comes from, that space where you've been able to release everything and really just being in tune with yourself. You know what I mean? And that's what I don't want to. I hope I'm not talking like abstract. I believe in practical. That whole
absolutely. Yes.
Like, you don't know what to do. So I would say, let me break it down. If you're having a hard time with figuring out where to begin in your vision, Write down 25 things that you enjoy. Write down 25 things that you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
That make you feel good. And if you're having a hard time, because I know we oftentimes think about if you have a daughter or son, what sort of things you would do with them to get yourself thinking about the things that you enjoy. When are you smiling? When are you laughing? When do you feel good in your body?
Yeah.
25 things that you enjoy, and start discovering and exploring yourself through that.
Yeah.
Also, take inventory. I did an I am challenge. It was called a swag bag, right? The swag is everything that you've ever done, that you've been successful at, that people tell you that you're good at, right? That you notice you don't need any prompting. It's natural for you. That also is where you start to get an idea of where my gifts are and where the vision is.
Good.
You know, all of this in prayer.
Yes.
You know, like making sure you're connected to the source and yourself and doing that. And another thing I would say is, like, ask yourself what's holding you back.
That is a good question,
you
honey.
know?
Yes.
What's holding you back? And as you begin to name those things, start to go and face them.
Yeah, deal with them.
And deal with them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm an advocate for that. Look in the mirror. Deal with it. Face it. That's that digging. That's that part that I love about the vision that God has given me, that dig. Because when you dig, then you can uproot it.
You can uproot. That's good.
Deal with it. Take it out.
Good.
I done got to it. I can uproot it. And then my last part, plant. Now go plant the proper seeds.
Nothing's in the way.
Nothing's in the way.
Right.
So now you can go plant the proper seeds to flourish, to become. And so I love that you went there. It's the whole thing of my show. It wasn't even planned. That's the whole thing of my show. And I feel like I have done that along life so much that it has helped me to continue to grow, to keep overcoming, because I have, you know, in the many parts of my life, I've gotten stuck often, right? Because then you have that mom, that wife, that woman, the leader, all of these parts, and you just like, okay, well, here I am. Here I am. So you have to dig at every level and be like, okay, that ain't true. That ain't right. Get that up out of there. This is true. This is right. I like this. Because you got the trauma of life that messes over a lot of your original design of how you came into this world. You know, of God, what God thought about you. And so you have to undo the life. And put back in, okay, God, this is how you seen me. When you created me. This is in my mother's womb. This is what you said. So I'm back to that. I think that is so important. So that is some tips for some of you that may be, but you're not even at the vision. You ain't even got a vision. Take those tips. And start there. You know, you may have an urge that's like, okay, well, you know, I know I'm called to do something. She just gave you 3 things that you can do. Go do those things. Now I want to move into, for those that may have a vision, they're clear at some things. What is some good steps? You can give us 2 or 3, 1 or 2, however you want to do it, that will be great at planning for the top of the year with this thing that God has given them that you have for them.
Okay, before we go there, because something you said was really powerful, and I want to align, because that's how my workbook is set up. Where you're talking about this reflection in every area. So we have been conditioned to, like, look at pretty pictures and put them in the board and be like, oh, that's the vision. So I say root the vision in a reflection of what I call the 8 essentials of abundance, which are really the key areas when you think about your spirit, when you think about your health, your mentality and mindset, your identity, your relationships, including your family and your friends. You're looking at your social life. You're looking at your health, right? And you're looking at one other thing that I can't remember right now.
It's gonna come back.
It's gonna come back to it, right? But what you're doing is you're breaking down each and every area. And you're saying, what is the original design? What is my ideal self? That's what we go through in our coaching. We start with, what's your ideal self? And we go through a series of exercises looking at your values. What do you want to do while on this earth? And you start to think about, what is my ideal self? And then you reflect and say, in this moment, where am I when it relates to those things? That informs your vision, because then you're saying, these areas are low or lacking, and that's where I want to focus. Or this is going great and I want to leverage it. I want to catapult it. let that guide your vision. Okay.
Yeah.
So for the women, those of you that have a vision, you have an idea of what you want to achieve. For you, I would say it's time now to get more specific.
Okay.
For me, my vision board speaks to what I want, but it's very clear. So if I say I want to be able to give 2 things for Black women, what? On my vision board, it's a clock for time and it's dollars for money. So I'm very clear. My vision board is not just a collage of pictures. It's the specifics of what I need to do to get there.
Yeah.
Another thing, if your vision is the same as last year and you didn't achieve it, take some time in thinking about why didn't I?
Yeah, what went wrong?
Because a lot of times our vision is somebody else's, right? That's why we have to start and stop.
Okay.
Because you really don't want that thing. If I'm honest, I picked up a little weight, but I really do want to eat that food.
Yeah, I be wanting that food.
I just want to breathe.
Yeah.
Better.
Yes.
But I'm okay with being a little thick in the thighs.
Yes, ma'am.
You understand?
Yes.
So why is my goal to lose weight?
Right.
To that extent. That's not my goal.
Yeah. It's what is.
It's what, and so so what I've learned in the coaching is we get into a ought self, who we ought to be.
Okay.
Who said
that?
Who you ought to be.
Yeah.
And when you decipher between who you ought to be and really good, bad, or indifferent. Listen, you might not like that that's what you really want, but don't create a vision off of what you really don't want. Maybe just don't have a vision for that side of your life. And you're going to work a little bit so you can get on the right path. Because the truth of the matter is you're not going to do it if you don't really feel it to do it.
That is so true.
Right? And then stop giving yourself so much to do.
Yeah.
Right? Like right now, my focus is hard work.
Yeah.
I'm maintaining what I've built in the company. I'm focusing on 2 specific things to continue to operate in that ministry, to grow my business in a work from anywhere way that aligns with me wanting to travel. And I'm doing hard work.
Yeah.
Because I have been successful in a lot of other ways.
Yeah.
But my heart needs some attention.
Yeah.
So my vision isn't about all the things. It's about I always say the one thing, what's the thing that you can do that eliminates or makes other things irrelevant? It creates a domino effect.
Yeah.
If I start here, how can that create a trickle down? Pick that and focus on it.
Yeah.
So for you, if you have a vision, work to get as clear and specific as you can and hone in on what you're going to focus on within that time period so you can actually see traction.
Yeah.
And assess yourself.
Yes.
How do we do here? Like, figure out a time. Don't every week, every day, did I do man, I didn't do that. Because it's stressful.
Yes.
But say, I'm going to check back in with myself in about a month or 2 to see how we are. This is the thing that I said I'm going to do to get me to this goal. And I'm assessing, see where I am.
Yes.
And give yourself permission to pivot if that's not really what you decided that's not really what you want.
Right.
You know?
Yes. Oh my God. That was so good. That was so good. Like, I just feel so refreshed, y'all, because I really, in preparation of bringing her on, I just was like, whoo, okay, yes, Tiffany, you bringing her on that topic, go sit. Yeah. And to hear some of the things that you have said today and to know that I am on the right path mentally, it is very, very, very refreshing. Yeah. And I'm sure this is definitely speaking to some of you out there that are sitting and you're like, yes, I'm doing that well. Take these notes, wrap it up, sit with it, like sit in the moment, right. Be very specific. Yes. That was the thing that the Lord sat with me last night, was like, give me specifics of what you want to see happen in this year, Tiffany. Yeah. Because I can do it. Yeah. I'm able to do it.
Just dream it.
Dream it.
Just throw it all. Just throw it all out there.
Yeah. And I love the 8 different aspects that you gave. Like, because we can get tunnel vision on only one thing. Yeah. So looking at the overall and mapping this out, that was really, really, really.
Oh, it's your work. Your career and your work.
Career and work. Okay, that's the last one. Yes, we knew it was gonna come back. Career and your work. But thank you for those tips. It gives you, because we do get caught up in the cute pictures and the beautiful and that. And that's, but you gotta. It's digging. when you sit with those 8 aspects. It's more detailed, more overall, and not just the one side. I say
it's your whole self.
Your whole self.
That's what we say. We work for you to be your whole self.
Yes.
Personal, professional, your whole self. How do I live abundantly and fulfilled in each area of my life?
Yeah.
I am living my best.
Yes.
And that's what it's about.
Yes.
But I always say talk to somebody. That's why I became a coach. You will not find any successful person that did not have a coach. I don't care whether it's an athlete, if it's Oprah herself, or whoever it is. There is somebody that they are constantly checking in with that's helping them address, the buzzword, limiting beliefs, that's helping them replace it with positive thoughts, that's helping them think of a plan. And so that is why I'm going this direction. And so it's an investment.
Yes.
And we need to start learning. Also, when people's like, how did you do multi-six figures? I hired people. To help, because I didn't know anything about a for-profit company and running a company. I had to work with somebody to help me think about my vision, to help me address the things. They call it Bertha. One of my coaches call it Bertha. When she come up, I got to tell her, sit down. We don't do that. We bigger than that.
Right.
And so having somebody work. And so for those, I like to design things like everybody that can't invest in a one-on-one right now. We have a workbook.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
If you still want to work with somebody, there's online course. There is the group coaching that we'll be having, right? And so I want to make sure that no matter where you are, there's pieces of it that you can get and you apply to your life, and you can work up to, maybe the one-on-one or something like that.
Awesome. So can you please give us how they can get in touch with you? Because we're wrapping this up. So she's going to give us how they can get in touch with you. What else was I about to say? I don't know.
Where they can find me.
Yeah, where they can find you. Thank you. Yes. It left my mind that fast.
That's all right. We in it together. So you can find me on Instagram at Monique Inc. Monique INC. I am currently on sabbatical. So if you check in on my Instagram before January, you will see I'm on sabbatical, but we're back in January. You can also go to my website, which is MoniqueInc.co. MoniqueInc.co. There you will find fun t-shirts that we have, but also workbook that we describe that helps you create that vision and helps you set an intention for what your focus is going to be for the year, which has been critical for me. And also, if you just want to do some fun reading, blogging when I lived in the Caribbean for a month, which was a part of my vision, and we're manifesting that thing. That's where you can find me, Monique Inc. on all channels, also on LinkedIn and YouTube.
Thank you. Thank you. It was so awesome having you today.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. We will see you next week. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, hit the bell so that you can get the notifications. Okay, because people have been like, well, I don't know when the shows is coming out. You got to hit the bell, guys. So hit the bell after you hit subscribe, and you will be notified that the new episode has come out. Once again, thank you all for joining in, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Bye.